For our marketing analysis, did Hudsonville Lanes. We were approached at the beginning of the semester with the objectives of reviewing the current marketing strategies and the marketing atmosphere in both a review of what Hudsonville Lanes has been doing as well as what other bowling lanes in the industry have been doing, and then developing good strategies to be implemented and develop a bunch of goals for the next period of time. And so I am Scott Stensrud, this is Edison's son, and Dan Happ.
Okay, so the background. Doug was not the original owner. He is actually owned it for 30 years now. But he bought it off a guy before him, and the guy before him actually ran things a little bit different. And Doug really wasn't satisfied with that, so he was like, I'll buy it from you, and you can still work here, but I'm going to change some things up, and we'll see how it goes. So Doug buys it, he changes things up, the guy's working there, and then within a year, the guy quits because he doesn't like the atmosphere. But this atmosphere that Doug has implemented since then is actually one that's like thrived, and people have actually been very surprised. So it's a unique environment, very family friendly. You walk in there, and it's just the employees know your name, and it's just like, it just feels very comforting when you walk in. Like, as you can see in their picture, it doesn't look like anything from the outside, like anything spectacular, but once you walk in there, it's like, wow, this is an awesome place to be. I really want to come back and just enjoy the time here. Doug went from having a bar to an ice cream parlor, so that was one change he made, which makes it obviously family friendly to like kids. Now they can have ice cream, and there's not all the drunk people walking around. Like, I mean, it's just something very different that people did not think would actually be able to come about. And then another thing that Doug changed was like he loves going local. He's from Hudsonville. He buys local products, and like this picture is actually a picture of Doug, who he's giving a check to one of the local, I think it was like elementary schools, where it was like $250, and all that money was raised at Hudsonville and is going towards the local schooling for like supplies and things that people can't afford. And so, a little bit of just research and then just bowling trends. Bowling was founded on September 9th, 1895 by the American Bowling Congress. It started out, bowling was huge. They had leagues and just tons of people. It was a huge fad. Like, everyone loved it. Just a fun thing to get together and go play. Just compete against local competitors in your area. Just have fun. But recently, the bowling trend has not been leagues anymore. It's one-time bowlers, which are people who come in and bowl just once a year, and then the next year they bowl again just one time. So just one-time bowlers. And also, so Doug now has to count on like parties coming in, like large groups of people, or even he does a lot of things like schools. Like, he'll go into the schools, talk to kids about bowling, or even schools come in and bowl at Hudsonville for sometimes discounted prices or just large group rates, which is really nice.
For our PEST analysis, we looked at the bowling industry as a whole, and it looks at the external factors that affect the bowling industry. So for political factors, each bowling alley has laws and regulations that they must follow. For example, there's cleaning, and they must keep it clean and sustainable, and they can't sell liquor without a license, and there's no gambling allowed on the premises of bowling alleys. The major seasonality issue would be the summertime slowdown, where the bowling season is usually from the fall to the spring, so in the summer they see fewer customers. And there's also a trend for people to become more environmentally friendly or be more green. So the bowling industry as a whole should just take this into account when they decide what products to provide or what purchases they make. And for economic factors, under the Obama administration, there have been new healthcare laws that have been passed. And under these laws, employers need to provide healthcare for their full-time employees. So this will affect their profits a bit. And socially, as Dan has said earlier, there have been fewer league bowlers and more open bowlers, people who come and bowl for fun, also known as one-time bowlers. So the bowling industry as a whole needs to gear their aim more towards the open bowlers rather than the league bowlers, because that is their new main source of revenue. And there's also a trend where people are becoming more health conscious, so bowling alleys need to just be able to provide both healthy and unhealthy food so that people can make the choice themselves. Technologically, bowling alleys need to keep updated with their TV screens and machinery. So in the picture here, we have updated screens, which Hudsonville Lanes specifically has themselves. But social media also has a heavy emphasis in today's world. That's a good way to advertise and reach out to their customers. But technology is also a competition because bowling alleys need to be able to persuade customers to come and bowl rather than stay at home and just play Wii Bowl.
This is our SWOT analysis. There's a lot of strengths that we found with Hudsonville Lanes. The most apparent to us was the great atmosphere, family-oriented, friendly, and just really a great atmosphere for bowling. There's also an atmosphere of friendly competition between Hudsonville Lanes and the other local bowling lanes in the Hudsonville and greater Hudsonville area. So they tend to, Doug and the other bowling alleys tend to refer customers to one another if hours don't work or any conflicts like that. There's also a trend to support local businesses in the community, so that is a strength for Doug, as he's a local rather than a big franchise. They're an attractive local bowling alley, so there's a lot of customers who come specifically for that reason. Also, it's a dual business, so there's bowling, but there's also an ice cream parlor which operate in the same building. The ice cream parlor serves Hudsonville ice cream, and it is definitely draws in. They both draw in different customers, and so that is great strength. Some of the weaknesses: the building exterior is not that attractive, and it might not clue you into the fact that it is a great bowling alley until you get inside. Another weakness we found would be social media, because they have a social media presence, but it is not very strong and it is not being utilized to its fullest potential. Also, the fact that there's no bar and they don't serve alcohol can be considered both a strength or weakness, because a lot of times people enjoy drinking alcohol when enjoying a bowling experience, and that is not offered at Hudsonville Lanes. However, that may provide for a more friendly, more family-friendly oriented bowling experience. There's also no arcade, which is also a typical draw for many bowling alleys. And Hudsonville Lanes is also closed on Sundays, which is a weakness. A lot of opportunities that we saw. There's a lot of opportunity to expand through social awareness and publications. They can very clearly update their social media and internet presence, and just do a lot of different publications and expand in many different ways there. There's a lot of potential for developing new marketing tactics and targeting all sorts of different groups in the Hudsonville or even greater Hudsonville area, creating new customers. And then we would like to see the opportunity of advertising ice cream along with bowling, kind of combine those and draw in customers from bowling to get some ice cream and vice versa. A lot of threats that we see come from the non-local bowling alleys and big bowling businesses. There's also a low interest in the summer months as people are attracted to more outdoor activities. And there's a market shift towards the one-time bowlers, which we have discussed already. And then the economic trends that we've been seeing have definitely played an impact on the amount of bowlers and people willing to spend extra money to go have a relaxing night bowling as opposed to saving money.
For our STP analysis, we looked at the segmenting, targeting, and positioning of Hudsonville Lanes. And for the segments, there's geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral ways to group up the customers. Geographically, they're located in Hudsonville, Michigan, which is part of Western Michigan. Western Michigan is known for being family-based and community-based. Hudsonville Lanes definitely takes this to heart when they're targeting mainly families. The population of Hudsonville is about 7,000 people, while the population of Grand Rapids is 190,000 people. The other cities surrounding Hudsonville are also more than 7,000, so we think that Hudsonville Lake should definitely draw from the surrounding cities so people can come bowl there and they can build up their customer base. For demographics, They're definitely geared towards families, as I just said, but they serve customers of all ages. And people who come bowl are usually people who have leisure time to spend, people either go bowling for fun, for an event such as birthday parties, or league bowlers go bowl for the competition. And their targets are families, kids, teens, and league bowlers, as we said previously. And on their website, you can see their positioning statement, which is Hudsonville Lanes is your home for family fun in Hudson.
Alright, so the marketing mix, 4 Ps. Place. They're located in Hudsonville, Michigan, as we said before. Their product is actually kind of unique because they offer a service along with their products. They have, their service would be amazing customer service. You walk in the door, so friendly. When we were there talking with Doug, he knew the people that were bowling at 9 in the morning. It was really awesome. They had a school come in. The employees knew the kids that were walking in the door. It was an awesome place to be. So then their products that they offer are just Hudsonville ice cream, and then they also just offer like a wide variety of foods. Like they have like little pizzas and just some other little snacks that you can have. And then they also have like a bunch of bowling equipment there for sale that you can buy. So they have bowling balls that Doug will custom like size to your own preference, like, and then drill the holes for you. And then they also have shoes that you can buy along with your bowling ball. The price is actually a very good price. It starts at $250. That's the day rate, and then as time goes on, like throughout the day, it's a little bit more expensive, but it still only goes up to $350. And most bowling alleys range from $6 or $7 a game, so it's pretty. It's well priced for what you're getting. And a pair of shoes costs around $2. So, and our promotions. So they had a minimal use on Facebook. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So their presence wasn't that great, but that's where we think some areas that we can improve on. And then another promotions that they had were Buck Nights, which are like games, shoes, food. Some foods are $1, and then Global, which are you get some group rates for bringing a bunch of people late at night, and it's just a blast just to go and have some fun with all the laser pointers and stuff going on. And then we have Kids Bowl free in the summer, which is actually they just started going on with, and then fundraising, which if you bring a big group of people in, you can, depending on the group size, you can get money going towards either Hudsonville or towards a foundation that you want the money to.
Now I'm going to talk about the social media. Hudsonville has links to their social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube on their home website. But when we looked more into those, they didn't seem to be all that strong. The Facebook page has 1,280 likes, which is actually a pretty good reach. But then when we look at how often they post, the last post looking just this week was March 1st, and before that was January 14th. So for the amount of people that they can reach, they're not utilizing social media to their best ability. And then on the next slide, we see similar things on the Twitter page. They only have 66 followers, actually. And then they have a YouTube page, which only has a couple videos with minimal views. And so we saw this as a great opportunity to increase especially the Facebook likes and Twitter, because there's a large population of potential customer base that do engage in social media. And so we like to promote these social media sites through maybe coupons or offers associated with if you give a like or a follow to Hudsonville Lanes on one of these sites, maybe you get a free bowling game or some free shoes as you bowl, or free rental shoes. And then we'd like to see more constant and consistent updates on these pages. And then maybe training an employee so that they will be confident in knowing how to update these social media sites and keeping them up to date with the current marketing offers that Hudsonville Lanes is promoting. And we would like to really especially implement this employee training and consistent updates starting in June.
Alright, so new customer. This is something that is very unique with Hudsonville. They offer Hudsonville ice cream and bowling. But one thing that we realized is that lots of people will come for the ice cream and not come for the bowling. So we were thinking to target this group of people. We could give like, buy an ice cream sundae, get a game free. And in this way, the people who are coming for ice cream will now want to bowl too. And then with that game, they're gonna have to buy shoes, so $2 on top of that. So it's not like we're just giving them a whole free game, like a whole just game free, but they actually still have to pay just a little bit of money to play, which is nice because not a lot of other bowling alleys are like, buy a drink of beer free, you get like, buy beer, get a game free. Like this is something unique that Hudsonville can do towards the community, which is really awesome.
Here are the current hours that they're open each week. As you can see here, they close pretty early on the weekends, 11:30 on Friday and midnight on Saturday. Other bowling alleys stay open until 2 a.m. or later. So on the next slide, we're thinking to suggest to Doug to stay open until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. This should bring in more customers such as high schoolers or college students who stay up later at night. And to test this, Doug can test it in July to see if many new people come in. And if it's successful, then he can continue it on. If it's not, you can just pitch the idea.
Customer reviews were another area that we thought that needed to be focused on. We saw some lack of reviews both on their website and when we searched on Google. When we did look on Google, there were 2 reviews. One was very positive, but the other was also very negative. And to have a very negative review take up half of your reviews is just a bad way to improve, a bad way to like market your business. And so we want to suggest really increasing the amount of positive reviews. And this can be both online, but also through maybe a suggestion box and really just increasing or encouraging people to fill out surveys when they're enjoying their bowling experience in or while they're in Hudsonville Lanes, and then they promoting those on a website to draw in more people and let people know this great service that Hudsonville provides.
Alright, and then for publicity, we were thinking a pretty cheap way is to get some flyers out within Hudsonville itself, like the community, put some flyers in like local coffee shops or something along those lines. And then as we said before, a lot of surrounding areas have more people within them. So like if we went to like Holland Beach and put some flyers up around there, we can maybe draw in some customers from Holland in Hudsonville to bowl during the summer, and just even in the winter, just when it starts to get towards the busy season. And then we also just suggested a billboard, which is a little bit more pricey, but we think this could really positively affect Hudsonville Lanes. We'd say posted on like a major highway, and billboards range from anywhere from like $300,000 to $30,000. And we were thinking maybe something along just a small billboard for like $500, which is a little expensive, but we think in the long run you'll actually see a lot more customers, and just something that like is really fun and just can draw people to come in.
And we'd also like to see Facebook to be used as more of a marketing tool. It has some great potential for specifically targeting a group and narrowing it down to the Hudsonville area and maybe even people who are interested in bowling, and it can pop up on their sidebar when they log into Facebook. It's just a underutilized marketing tool that, if properly trained, somebody at Hudsonville could definitely utilize and draw in some more customers.
Another idea that we have for Doug is that he can host after proms at Hudsonville Lanes. This is a good example of pull marketing because as each request comes in, he can reserve the bowling alley for them. So this would provide advertising, more revenue, and more customers for Hudsonville Lanes. Each event would generate more revenue, and the high schoolers would tell their friends and family and come back if they had a good time. So that would be advertising and more customers. To implement this, Doug would have to meet with local high school prom committees beginning this September, and if things go well, they're interested, then they can begin hosting it next spring, late March or early April.
And then we suggested an internship program. This would be in place of like a new hiree, so we could go to the local schools, kind of local like Calvin, Grand Valley, and Aquinas and Hope, and just see if there's any students who are interested in interning. So Doug would have to go through the process of meeting with like someone higher up, like president, and just see what they think, and then go through like Calvin Link and post it on the forum. And then in June, Like he'd meet with career services. In August, he would plan a program, like what he's looking for. If he just wants them to do social media, or if he wants them to do something else more along that lines. And then in September, towards the beginning of the school year, hire an intern for the year if someone's looking for something.
Overall, we have our timeline. In May, we'd like to see flyers handed out, social media, or employee to begin training in social media, and then we want to see coupons being offered in association with that social media, promoting social media. In June, Doug could meet with career services at a local college or university. In July, we want to test out the hour extension. In August, you can meet with a marketing professor, and then, in September, we could hire a potential intern and then meet with a prom committee at local high schools. In October, we would like to see a billboard implemented as it gets into the busy season for the bowling. And then we would like to see some of the flyers that we discussed to be dispersed throughout the year. And then in conclusion, we just had an excellent, awesome time working with Doug in Hudsonville Lanes, and just a really positive experience. All three of us learned a lot about bowling and the industry and the current trends. And we're excited to see how some of these suggestions will be implemented, and we're hopeful and confident that they will be very helpful in increasing Hudsonville's marketing share. Any questions?
Yeah, I was looking at their Twitter. It's kind of like what you're saying. Do they make an effort to like reach out to teens and college students besides just staying open until 2 a.m.?
We didn't see anything like specific. It's really, there's a lot geared towards like family and like kids.
Yeah.
Like kids bowl free is some of the offers that they have, but there isn't really anything geared towards college students. But that might be something we would encourage, especially if they promote more social media and maybe get an internship program started.
Yeah, but one nice thing that they do is like if you get bigger groups, they kind of give you a discounted rate. And so like for the night bowl, you bring like 12 people, it's like $4 or something. It's like really cheap. So it's really awesome. I think that's just one cool thing they do. So that would be kind of cool towards like college kids, like wanting a cheap alternative.
Is there any cost to your social media updates, changes? I know you talked about the billboard being like $500 some odd, but what are the social media costs?
It could depend kind of how in depth they want to go with like training, because you could learn like through an actual training program how to fully utilize, so that could associate with costs. But also with marketing on Facebook, you can set a money limit for how much it would cost through Facebook to advertise to a certain number of people, and you can set a limit to how many people will see it for a certain cost. So there are costs associated with the marketing there and the advertising on Facebook, but it's really subjective to how much they'll be willing to spend.
Anyone else?